All right, where will the Ole Miss Rebels end up on tonight's playoff rankings reveal? We will find that out as soon as the rankings reveal show starts in probably about 15 minutes. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Stick around. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, the most watched Ole Miss podcast around. I am your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network in America, and that's all thanks to you. On today's show, we are going to do all the rankings reveals as soon as they go. There's about 2.5 minutes left in the Michigan State-Kentucky game that I'm looking at right now. As soon as they go to the highlights, we will do that. If we have a little bit of time, we'll take your comments. It all depends on how quickly it goes. This will be about a 15 to 20-minute stream tonight because I have other stuff that I have to record tonight. So as soon as this gets over, we will take care of all of that as well. It'll be pretty interesting, I think. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download FanDuel today. All right. One thing's interesting to me, and we will take comments in the beginning since we're waiting on the ranking stuff to show up. Right now, Michigan State's up by like 25 on Kentucky. Kentucky is not all that in basketball, it appears, this year. Although we know that Michigan State team can be a little bit problematic, so we'll see exactly how that goes. But yeah, they're pretty good, honestly. So Ole Miss wins against Florida. Oklahoma defeats Alabama, so that means Ole Miss is going to move up likely one spot from 7 to 6. The question does become, do they jump Texas Tech because Oklahoma is going to likely be a top 10 team after defeating the Alabama Crimson Tide on Saturday? And that becomes a big deal, a big resume win. That turned out to be the LSU game that everybody was wondering how it would end up. Beating Oklahoma was the resume win for the Ole Miss Rebels. And now you have a loss against the Georgia Bulldogs in a game that honestly you should have won. You absolutely should have won. But you also go up against the Mississippi State rival that is going to control things as well. It looks like they're doing the college football playoff rankings release from Madison Square Garden tonight, which is kind of weird, kind of really weird if we're going to be completely honest about it. But this is a big playoff rankings to see exactly what they think of Ole Miss and how that goes. Let's look at some comments real quick while we're waiting on it to start and see what's kind of the talking point of whatever's going on. Let's see. Landry Barnes says, wonder if Lane says no, says there's no ultimatum regardless. Ultimatum, they're playing semantic words about that. I heard from way too many sources that it exists for it not to, and it's coming from different places, and the time frame's completely different. So there's like a game of telephone happening, which means multiple people relayed that information. It may not be an ultimatum, but it's one of those things like, hey, you need to take care of us because we've taken care of you for about the last 6 years, honestly. Tristan Barber, is everyone else tired of the Lane Kiffin runaround? I love the guy. I want him to stay home, but come on. Yeah, the last 48 hours, Sunday and Monday, was a disaster, was absolutely a disaster. And today was as close to Lane Kiffin saying I'm sorry as somebody that doesn't say I'm sorry gets. That's what the Pat McAfee show was today. Bailey Duggan, do you think Lane Kiffin is dodging the question to trick Florida and LSU and take over the portal? I don't think it is that complicated, man. I don't. It's whatever it is. Patrick Kelm, I hope our coach looking around does not hurt our ranking. If it does, it's a rigged ranking. It absolutely is because the kids did nothing and the kids didn't get injured. This is all about something on the field that everybody else does. So Matt Woodruff, it may not have been an ultimatum per se, probably not. And if you don't do this, then we'll do this. Not very good form. No, it was a very good. Keith Carter, for what happened, absolutely. Him taking care of Ole Miss, yeah, it's excellent form. And more athletic directors should act like this in this environment. Seriously. SSDO says the Egg Bowl, in my opinion, is about to be very fun to watch. It will. JTC 1888. If Kiffin leaves, go outside the box and bring in Gruden. He has more. Nope. No John Gruden whatsoever. Nope. Mark Walsh says, yes, the Lane stuff is getting old. Save millions and put that in NIL. That, if he leaves, that's what you need to do. Go get John Sumrall, pay him $6-7 million, and take the other $6-7 million and put that into NIL. Skylar Williams says Lane is confusing. Yes, Lane is very confusing. William Broom, we need to focus on the Egg Bowl and not a coaching problem. We don't need to be distracted. Yeah, the benefit is the Egg Bowl is 10 days away or something like that. We'll be fine. One rusty boy. I think Lane and Carter are stringing this along to troll Florida and LSU. I don't know if Keith Carter does the troll thing, if we're going to be honest. Tyrone S says Lane is childish. Yeah, the last 40 hours was a bad look. Matt Woodruff, I agree, Mark. Get Tulane's coach and put those millions into the roster. I could not agree more. This game's got about 23 seconds left in the game. It looks like the shot clock is off. So it looks like it'll be over pretty quick. Lance Ware, Lane wants to coach in the playoff and had a lame PR stunt to buy more time. Maybe. But the important thing is to beat Mississippi State. So you needed to stop the chaos that was created, first of all. Ole Miss can worry about the next step with the next step. And it's not a given that Lane is going to go somewhere else. It is not a given that is going to happen. Skylar Williams, Gator fan him. I don't even want him anymore. He's flaky and playing y'all extremely dirty, even if he stays. It's the Lane Kiffin experience, man. Like I said, I've been trying to explain this to anyone that would listen about it, but it just is what it is. Rebel and David Ventures. I'm still mad about the whole Bentley situations from last year. Yes. So we'll see exactly what happens. We're about to go into what do we say on that one? The Ole Miss college football playoff rankings result. Now, surely they're going to go into that. We got about 7 minutes left in this live stream, so hopefully it'll work out pretty well. Like I said, I'm sorry this is a short stream, but I just have to film the SEC squad at 9 Eastern. So after that, I need to get this over into audio form and all that and try and rush that through. And that's also the reason there's not going to be a basketball stream tonight, because obviously the Ole Miss Austin Peay game is happening as we speak right now. So thank you for your patience on that, but we'll have Tim Thomas tomorrow or Thursday, and he's going to talk about this game. You got a week between now and the Ole Miss Iowa game at the Palm Springs Classic. So we'll see exactly how that goes for Ole Miss. Anyway, before this gets started, let's take a short break. We'll be right back with the college football rankings. Stick around. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when that first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel and sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. The college football playoff ranking, we got about 6 minutes left to go, and part of that will be an ad read. So I do have one more that I have to get to. I do apologize for that. But yeah, it's weird seeing that the college football ranking show is at Madison Square Garden, and they're just going over the rules and everything about that. Why do they feel the need to have to explain the rules every time we do a broadcast on this show? Every time we do a broadcast on this show, it looks like they're going to take a short break. They're showing committee members down in Dallas right now. So let's go ahead and do the game time read right now. Stick around when we come back. The college football rankings. Stick around. College football is back, and I could not be much more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing quite like it. But let's be real. Actually, getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping at checkout. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices, all with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up the Gametime app, and in just a couple of taps, I saw some amazing deals talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way that I've bought tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. All right, so we're back coming in. We're going to be around for about another 7-8 minutes, maybe something like that. But we'll have to go shortly after that. But we're waiting for them to do their reveal, and it should be an interesting thing. Who is in the top 25? Like, did LSU make a jump to where they're like 25th since they're now like 7-4 or something like that? Is it a situation where anybody else that Ole Miss played made a jump up? That is the question. That is going to affect the Ole Miss Rebels and where the Rebels will be. I am very, very curious about where they're going to put Ole Miss in this game. Last week, or the first week, it was whether or not Ole Miss would be higher ranked than the Oregon Ducks. And they were. Ole Miss was 6th. Oregon was 9th. So Ole Miss was up higher than that. This week, or last week, it was whether Texas Tech would jump Ole Miss, which they did. Texas Tech took over the 6th spot. Ole Miss ended up at number 7. This week, it's whether or not Ole Miss will jump over Texas Tech. And the win over Alabama might be the thing that does, or the win over Oklahoma might be the thing that does it for the Ole Miss Rebels. I'm curious to see exactly how this will work. It's about 45 seconds till the rankings reveal. We'll see exactly what's up with this. We've got about 7 minutes left in this live stream, so just stick around with me. We've already finished our last commercial of the day, so it's going to be straight through all the way until the end of this stream. I think 7 minutes should be long enough to where the teams get their due, because they have 15 minutes left as well, essentially, because at 9 o'clock there's a basketball game. So they have to run and go through it pretty quickly and interview the new committee chairman, which is Hunter Yurachek, because the previous one was from Baylor and got in trouble. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Was it Mac Rhodes was his name? Something like that. All right, it's coming back right now. We'll see exactly how it goes. Like I said, Ole Miss should have jumped the Texas Tech Red Raiders. With the win over Oklahoma, they should have jumped. And in between games and basketball games, they're going to be talking about this playoff bracket as well. Reese Davis and Joey Galloway and Greg McElroy are sitting out remotely at Madison Square Garden while the other team is warming up on the basketball court. It's weird. It looks very weird, if we're going to be completely honest. But if Ole Miss can make that jump over Texas Tech to where they're 5th, just beating Mississippi State And there's a good chance that not only are you 5th, but you are in the bye realm. And if Texas A&M loses to Texas, if Alabama loses to Auburn, if both of those happen and you beat Mississippi State, you go to the SEC championship game to face the Georgia Bulldogs. I mean, that's a big deal. And if you go to the SEC championship game, you better win it, if we're going to be completely honest. Now, Georgia is a different animal when they play in Athens and a different animal when they play away from Athens. So I think it can look a little bit different with the way it went down. All right, they're giving the rules right now because for some reason they have to do that, for whatever reason they have to do that, but they do that. 12 teams, 5 highest ranked conference champions, 7 next highest ranked teams. 5 highest ranked teams will be seeded 1 through 4 and receive first round byes. 8 teams seeded 5 through 12 will play in the first round with the higher seeds hosting the game. There, you have the rules. I got to play along with everybody else. They seem to be taking their sweet time about this, but we're going to let them go. Number 25, Arizona State. Number 24, Tulane. Ole Miss got a ranked win over the Tulane Green Wave. That's kind of a big deal whenever you look at that. Houston is number 23, Missouri 22. Illinois is number 21, so a Big Ten team jumped in there as well. All 5 of those teams were non-ranked teams. Tennessee, number 20, Virginia 19, Michigan 18. Texas fell all the way down to number 17, and Georgia Tech is number 16, which that's interesting to see exactly how that goes. Texas fell 7 spots because they got blown out in the 4th quarter of that game against the Georgia Bulldogs. So it makes a little bit of sense. Now we get into the bubble teams of the college football playoff, who's number 15, who's number 14, et cetera, et cetera. We'll see who is that. I think they're still talking about the Texas game because Texas coming in at 17, that basically they're eliminated from the college football playoff. Even beating Texas A&M is not going to move you up high enough to where anything of significance happened. This was moving Texas down to ensure that they don't move up, if that makes sense. Surely it makes sense. Surely. Number 15, USC. Okay. Then it's a solid bubble. They moved up 2 spots. And it looks like they're going to one-off now through these rankings. And number 14, I guess they're still talking about Lincoln Riley, yada, yada, yada. He's so good, yada, yada, yada. Number 14 is Vanderbilt, that did not move during their bye week. They're 8-2. I still can't get over Vanderbilt's 8-2. That's absolutely fantastic. Number 13, Miami moved up 2 spots to number 13, which means they're in pretty close position to where if they went out, they might be able to make it into the playoff field. And they seem to be the leader in the clubhouse for that as well. So we'll see what happens. And ESPN, as always, loves Miami. Number 12 will be eventually put on the screen. Let's see. I guess they're still talking about the Miami Hurricanes. Number 12 is the Utah Utes, which means that BYU is going to be number 11. So the Big 12 is really close to having 3 teams in this playoff. BYU's number 11. And number 10 would be, who would number 10 be? Alabama, maybe? That would make sense if they just dropped Alabama down to 10th. Yep, Alabama is number 10. Number 9. Alabama having to play a night game at Auburn, by the way, is a low-key, very good matchup because Alabama's strength is offensive football and Auburn's strength is defensive football. And that is a game that could get out of hand real quick, to where it just turns into a rock fight and DJ Durkin kind of controls some stuff and Alabama's not able to run the football. Notre Dame's number 9. And let's see. Should be pretty close to going chalk. We'll see in just a second where Ole Miss is. And that's what you're all here for, honestly, that's watching this stream. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they lost their first 2 games. They've won their next 8. They have nobody of consequence, I don't think, for the rest of the season. So Notre Dame's pretty much in. Notre Dame would have to be upset pretty bad to not be in. Oklahoma is number 8. Ole Miss has the win over Oklahoma. That's a very good win. They moved up 3 spots. They are firmly in the college football playoff, to where if they win their last 2 games, they are going to be in. Period. Beat Missouri, beat LSU, and Oklahoma's going to the playoff. That is what's happening. It'll be interesting to see exactly what that means. Now, Alabama at number 10 floating there. They still have that tough test against the Auburn Tigers, but we'll see. Ole Miss was number 7 last week. Oregon is number 7 this week. We're about to find out if number 6 is Ole Miss or Texas Tech. And with Ole Miss having a win over number 8, it should be Ole Miss. It honestly should be Ole Miss. I doubt it will be, but it should be. Because Ole Miss's only loss is against Georgia, who's going to be number 4 or something like that. This should be Texas Tech, but it will not be. It'll be Ole Miss. I guarantee you. I have no faith that the committee would put Ole Miss. Yeah, Ole Miss is number 6. At 10-1, they are number 6 in the rankings. They moved up 1 spot. Texas Tech's going to be number 5. Georgia will be number 4. A&M 3. Indiana 2. And Ohio State 1 is how that is going to be finished up. Anyway, thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your go-to source for Ole Miss sports. We pride ourselves in offering the most comprehensive perspectives, which is why we're the front door of Ole Miss. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. It helps the show, and it's absolutely free. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen every day. For your second listen, check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy breaks down the best conference in all of college sports, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On SEC on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. Hotty toddy. And remember, analytics is just the old English word that means bad football. We'll see you tomorrow.